Hello out there. We're late, but we're on the air. Good morning, folks. Looks like we got a buzz and chat this morning to start the show. It's good to see. Check on the Zap streams. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable, very actionable, and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners out there. Happy Thursday, everybody. What a great day. What a beautiful day. I see some questions in here. I'll get to them in 1 sec. Let's check on the Zap stream first, though. A couple people over there. All right. So we got YouTube, we got Zap stream, we got Rumble as well. If you're watching on Rumble, make sure you say hello. And we got Arnie's wallet live today too. So if you scan that magical QR code and type in a number, this screen will flash green. It's kind of cool. We got Tom over in Zapstream. We got Josh, we got Duncan, and Daniel zapped 88 sats to start the show today. Hot start. Thank you, Daniel. Is it working though? It's not loading on mine. Can someone in the Zapstream just confirm that you can see it? It's not working for me. All right, let's see what's going on the YouTube this morning. Killer's here. Killer's been the first comment for, he's on a roll. Santino. Cleaner Machine says, good morning, +3 in Alberta today. Finally a break in the freeze. Well, I hope that's coming this way because I was outside about, I don't know, 20 minutes ago and it was not +3. Oh, nice. It feels like -39 here. Weather check. Okay, Josh says we can see. I wonder why it's not working for me. Oh, well, I don't need to see myself anyways, but if you guys can see me, we're good. Good morning, Ron. One of our Bitcoin Journeyman, Duncan as well. A couple Bitcoin Journeymen in the chat this morning. Jay, good morning. And Mert says, should we as humanity be concerned about the future of the world where AI agents are working incredibly well? They will take away many jobs and we may not be needed in the long run. I mean, you're not wrong. It's kind of, I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about it myself yet either. I haven't taken enough time to really sit down and think about it, think things through. I mean, it won't be in our lifetime. That's for sure. I think in our lifetime, AI is going to be incredibly useful and helpful. I use it every day. Actually, a couple of different things I wanted to share with people on here. If you're watching the show, if you're enjoying the show, if you're a fan of this channel, I would highly recommend either joining as a Bitcoin Journeyman on the YouTube channel, which is $3 Canadian per month. It's a joke, honestly, how cheap that is. I'll probably bump that up. I don't know. Anyways, yesterday we did a private show. Every Wednesday we do a private Q&A for the community for YouTube and then Living in the Future. That's a better option, I think, is joining Living in the Future through the Patreon. But anyways, we went through two very important topics yesterday on the show. Number one was Bitcoin security, which you can actually just join if you wanted to. I mean, I just think it's important for people to see it. And I was going to share it on YouTube, but it's not really something that needs to be public, in my opinion. So you could join free on Patreon. I actually shared it to everybody in there yesterday. So that was on Bitcoin security and kind of the different layers and the characteristics and the pros, the cons of each setup. And then the second one we did, we actually watched a video about AI, Bitcoin, kind of what's coming here, how to prepare for it, and then talked about it after. So I might share that one too. I'm not 100% sure yet. I haven't got around to it yet. But you can join either here or Patreon. And then you're going to be there for next Wednesday, and the following 100 Wednesdays. So I'm going to start doing a private Q&A plus, I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet, but it's mostly for anybody out there who wants to leave their job. Steps to do it, tips to do it, or if you have a business already, how to grow it using what we have available here. So that's going to be every Wednesday going forward. It was going to be an 8-week course, but now it's going to be longer than that, I think. So I'm excited for it. I've been putting quite a bit of time and energy into kind of building out a little roadmap for it. And so it's going to start next Wednesday. So you get what we've had yesterday plus what we got in the future here. But yeah, I don't know, Mert. That's a good question. That's a tough one to me. In other words, could this be the path that Democrats wanted 8 years ago, population reduction? Okay, so here's the thing for me. Like, it doesn't really, this is my honest opinion on it today. This could change as things evolve here. By the way, our coworker showed up today. Oh, he was in the bathroom. I thought he was taking a crap there. What you doing, bud? Come to say hi? Come to say hi to everybody? Well, as long as you're not whining, you're good. You can do whatever the heck you want. All right, our coworker is here. That's good news. The one thing I was going to say on this, though, this is kind of my opinion on it today, is I think that the AI agents and AI robots, things like that, it's going to replace the jobs that nobody wants to do anyways. That's kind of how I see it. And that might be a bad way to look at it. But this is kind of how I see AI and everything playing out over the next decade, I would say. So as the video talked about, and I agree with this theory, that we're probably going to have about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years to like figure this stuff out and really prepare for what's coming here, the next evolution in human history, which is AI. So you could spend 2 or 3 years worrying about it, or you could spend 2 or 3 years learning it. Because anybody who has that skill, capability using AI is going to be able to grow whatever they're doing much faster. So over that next couple of years, it's going to wipe out a whole bunch of jobs. Honestly, like it's going to take out a whole bunch of jobs. And yeah, that's shitty. But at the same time, I really believe at this level anyways, it's going to take out the jobs that nobody wants to do. So to me, that's a net positive for humanity. So then you say, okay, well, if nobody's working, nobody's has a purpose in life. Well, do you really think that somebody has a purpose in life to run groceries through a till? Do you think that that's their purpose? Do you think that that's what they were born to do? No, I don't. So I think that this will actually free up a lot more time for humans to do what they enjoy doing. And there's going to be abundant ability to earn money from that by doing that. What people like doing, not what they have to do just to put fucking food on their table. So that's the first part. And then you look even further out and you say, okay, well, if nobody's working, who's paying taxes and who's building the roads? The dumbest argument for taxes. But what I see happening here is I think we're actually going to be able to utilize Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, especially for these different countries, to pay for their much smaller governments. So imagine a world without income taxes. Imagine a deflationary world where the prices of everything are much lower and people don't have to go to a job that they hate for 40 or 50 years of their life. Here's a really painful thing for me that I've kind of realized in the last little while. Imagine somebody like my parents. My parents would have went through this exact same thing. And I know baby boomers take a lot of shit right now for, the mess that we're in. But think about somebody who went to work for 20, 30, 40, 50 years of their life doing something that they didn't necessarily love doing at all. They just had to do it. And they go through their whole career, grinding every day, waking up, doing something that they hate for their kids, a lot of them. And then they wake up one day and the government's printed 50% of the total monetary supply in the last 4 years. And what they had or thought that they had to retire on is now worth nothing. Could you imagine being in that scenario? There's a lot of people going through that right now. And they're not really willing to blame anybody. They're just like sad about things. So I think we're kind of at the peak worst right now of like human abuse, pretty much. That's what I would call it, human abuse, slavery. It's the closest thing to it. People are triggered by that word. But if you look, I don't want to go too far down this path, but for somebody who wakes up every single day of their life, 9 to 5, going to work for somebody else, paying half their salary to the government. I don't know what else to call it. Plus, you got a 30, 40, 20, 30 year mortgage that you're pretty much attached to and forces you to do stuff that you hate doing just so you can basically live. In my opinion, that's not what we were designed to do. And I really think that if we had something like Bitcoin 100, 500,000 years ago, something similar to it, obviously we didn't have the technology for it, but we would be living in a much different world right now. Not just like technology wise, but everything wise. Everything. And I think a lot of that has been taken from human civilization in terms of us being able to evolve. We're like at the lowest form of energy use that we could possibly be at right now. 90% of the population believes that our oil and our fuel comes from fucking dinosaurs. And like I was there 4 or 5 years ago myself. But it's laughable. And I've even talked to people who work in like the energy industry about this. I'm like, there's no way this came from dinosaurs, right? They're like, well, yeah, it's fossil fuels. We've been lied to for so long. And what this next chapter in life is going to bring is going to just blow people's minds. It's going to be honestly better than anybody could ever imagine right now. It's going to be something we can't even recognize. And AI is going to play a big part in helping that, not hindering that growth. The lizards at the top who have had control of the monetary system and control of the distribution and control of the everything, resources. Like what's worse? So I don't know. That was like a long-winded answer to that, but that's kind of my thoughts on AI. The people who utilize AI are going to do very well in the future here. Without a doubt. All right, let's check on the zaps here. We got Josh zapped. Oh, fatty, 888 zaps. Thank you, Josh. Duncan zapped 21 and 121. Just zap checking. Yeah, it worked. Josh says AI ain't going to take my job, but I can see it taking crane operations, gantry trains, etc. Yeah, I think that one of the things that I've seen is that like robots and AI, it's going to replace, again, the jobs that nobody wants to do. Maybe because they're boring, redundant, maybe they're dangerous. Imagine sending a robot to, I don't know, something even like that, a crane or cleaning windows that are 1,000 feet in the air. Like dangerous jobs will be replaced by these robots. They have the ability to do it. But humans, if you do it right, if you have the ability to navigate this and see this coming, humans are absolutely going to flourish, in my opinion. Moro, good morning. Stacker. Surely jobs will only be needed by those that didn't. That's also true, too. That's also true, too. Jobs will only be needed by those who didn't stack sats. From Stacker himself. Buck 52,000, good morning. Knox Bill. Donnie. Morning, Ian. Ian's, there's a couple people sending coffee. They're, I don't know why Arnie's doing laps this morning. He's just been in a restless mood lately. Maybe because the seasons are changing. But Ian was sending some pictures of coffee. He's a fella, owns a coffee shop, Ian. So I sent a picture of my black coffee. I can't put anything in my coffee. I don't know. I used to just be full cream, but now I just drink it black. It's way better. Long term. Yeah, hopefully that helped with, I don't know, answer a little bit. Doobie. How do I send my Bitcoin from Strike to hardware wallet? Any help is greatly appreciated. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward one, I think. You just go to your hardware wallet, you'd press receive, and then you'd go to your Strike and press send, and you'd paste your address from your hardware wallet into Strike, and then press send. It's funny, everybody likes to everybody's so intimidated by Bitcoin. It's like literally the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing possible. It's literally just copy and paste. Copy and paste, verify the last 3 digits on there that they agree, send. Easiest thing ever. Morning, Ryan. Good to see you, my friend. And Craig. Hey, we got Craig in the chat over in Zapstream with a fat zap, 2,100 sats for Arnie insurance. Say thanks. Say thanks to Craig. All right. Whatever. Chad, this is a great point. Cars, electricity, and the internet all created more jobs. People always have needs and wants. There aren't enough people solving people's problems. 100%. I might leave this comment up here for the rest of the show today. That's the argument too. It's like the internet was going to wipe out all these jobs, all the postal workers, all these other things. No, it's not. It didn't. It just made more jobs. AI is going to do the same thing, I think. Trump floated the idea of a Doge dividend from the savings. He estimates $5,000 per taxpayer. My wife and I will be buying Bitcoin when that happens. I know, you buggers. You guys are getting checks. We're paying 3 carbon taxes here. And Canadians are just walking around with their heads up their ass. Jay, good morning. Laughpad in the chat. Good to see you, Laughpad. Welcome. Welcome. Oh, Arnie. Yeah, Arnie's making lots of appearances today. I'm enjoying digging through the Patreon. Some great stuff on there. Going to catch up on the Q&A later. I mean, this is what would be my recommendation for anybody out there right now. Anybody who's not in the Living the Future community yet or not part of the community, I would say this is what I would do if I were you. I would join the 365 days of Bitcoin. It's $20 a month, $21 a month. You're going to have access to 50 videos that we've done so far. I've done a video every single day in 2025. You get access to all those. And it's like, it's not for beginners either. I'm not really teaching people like how to buy and send Bitcoin. It's like what you need to understand about Bitcoin to have conviction when the price runs up or crashes down, to secure your Bitcoin properly, how to manage your keys, what else to be thinking about. The problem with a lot of Bitcoin, the people within Bitcoin, is they don't really know what they don't know. That's a big problem. You can find whatever you want on the internet for free, but if you don't really know what you're looking for, you're going to miss it. And that's how people get burned. So within the Patreon there, you could join the 365 days of Bitcoin. You get all the 50 videos today. You get access to those, plus the ones coming in the future. And you get access to pretty much everything else on there. There's a Bitcoin Generations course. There's a Bitcoin Journey course. There's all the private Q&As that we've done. There's a lot of stuff on there. So if you're interested in like learning more about Bitcoin and, you know, rounding out your knowledge, conviction, and your skills, I don't think there's a better place than that on there. Obviously biased, but for the value there, second to none. Hey, Paul, good morning. Any word on the Jam app interface on Join Market on Start 9? If anything like CoinJoin was, then it seems great for privacy. BTC Sessions has a video on it, 2 years old, of course. Yeah, that's the problem with all this stuff. And I've had a hard time with this myself on the channel, is like trying to keep up with everything. Because when you go to watch a video, by the time you need it, that might be 6 months, a year old. Maybe the app's done or the software's done 5 updates since then. This world's moving so fast, and it's impossible to really keep up with everything. Because when you put out a video like that today, nobody's really ready for it. That's a problem. And by the time people are ready for it, it's outdated. It's 2 years ago. It's a year ago. They've changed the whole interface on the app. So it's like and I think BTC Sessions is starting to realize this himself. I can tell that he's kind of phasing away from that, which is smart, because that's a very difficult, it's just like a never ending hamster wheel that you're chasing. Never ending. But again, it seems like he's kind of transitioning away from that. So it's a good idea. Bad for us, but good for him. Josh says, mainly the reason I see non-mobile crane operations being on AI is that they can be programmed on grid patterns on height, width, and length. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know enough about the crane stuff to be able to have a conversation on that. But stuff like that, absolutely. It's like when farmers shit their pants when they saw a tractor because they were going to have all their staff. They were going to have to lay off a portion of their staff because they didn't have to go through the humans doing that instead. And look where we are today, where you could pretty much plop a combine in your field and it runs itself. Humans are just kind of sitting in there now. You could read a book while you're harvesting or doing something in the field. So it's the same as anything. It's the same as anything with technology. It replaces the shitty jobs. The issue is, in fiat terms, that despite overhead costs going down, AI replacing humans, those savings will not get passed on to the consumer. Yes, that's absolutely true. But if you're storing your time and energy in Bitcoin, it does. It gets passed down to you. Everything gets cheaper if you store your wealth in Bitcoin. Logan, good morning. Howdy from Texas. Wind chill at 2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not bad. That's got to be pretty cold for Texas, though. I would assume. Morning, Matt. The underlying purpose of AI is to allow wealth to access skill while removing the skill from the ability to access wealth. That's thought-provoking. The underlying purpose of AI is to allow wealth to access skill while removing from skilled the ability to access wealth. Interesting. It's an interesting comment. Frito. Look at this. I recognize that name, Frito. That might be one of our, they might be going through the 365. I don't know. By the way, if anybody is going through the 365 right now, give us a live testimonial. There's nothing better than a live testimonial on the air of if you've been enjoying it, if you've been learning anything, if it's worth the value. I would appreciate it. Obviously, you don't have to, but Jay says, I like my coffee how I like my women, hot and black. Oh, man, that's good stuff. Good content there. All right. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around everywhere today, but that's okay. I have a couple things I want to talk about, but we're just having some fun today. All right, let's check on Arnie's wallet. Arnie, what do you think? You getting anything today? So far, no. So far, we got a big fat goose egg on your wallet, Arnie. Sorry, buddy. But Sunshine did zap 420 sats. Good morning. Sunshine says, did the stream freeze? Okay, so it looks like Zap stream is down. Oh no, Josh says it's running flawlessly for him. Okay, so it could be a relay. But we got another fat zap over there as well. Zaps are working. Stream might be broken, but the zaps are working. Letha zapped 1,000 sats. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Letha. Thank you, Letha. Lazy jobs will go first, 100%. Stacking sats today for more freedom tomorrow. Sounds like a Bitcoin Amigo song. Rick, good morning. Let's see what's going on here. Well, how are we doing for likes? Did anybody listen to Rick's warning here? Rick's notice. All right. Oh, this doesn't work. Nice. Of course it doesn't. Why would it? Why would it? Okay, well, it doesn't matter that much. But we'll trust that Rick's got everybody in check here. Lapad says, chatting with a coworker yesterday about his Bitcoin. He already has Cash App on his phone, so I showed him how amazing Lightning is by sending 10K sats to his phone instantly. He was blown away. Feels insanely good to get people in real life involved. Oh, isn't that the truth? That's something I want to put more of a priority here in the future is going to meetups, organizing meetups. I want to do a Bitcoin golf tournament this summer. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I would like it to happen. But yeah, you're absolutely right. No, nothing works better than actually zapping people or sending Bitcoin over Lightning in real life. It's a thing of beauty. Good morning, all. Remember, Kamala Harris isn't president. Could you imagine? Oh my God. No doubt. No doubt. My first interaction in real life with orange pilling, and it felt like crack. Just spreading the hope out here. Attaboy. Cleaner Machine says, I do a highly skilled job and feel no threat from AI. Attaboy. The one thing that I would say about that, though, is that if you are skilled in one area and then one area only, you might be in trouble. Because if you think about it, and this is kind of what the video explained yesterday that we watched, is that if somebody has a very specific skill, that can be replaced. If you have numerous skills that kind of bundle together and that's how you add value to the world, that's much harder to replace. But if you have a single skill, very specific skill, that will eventually be replaced by a robot or AI. Not yet, maybe not yet, but that's kind of the thesis there. And I agree with that too. But I mean, it's different for everybody. It's not just every highly skilled job, it's certain ones, but I think that makes sense in my head. Bren says, do you pay bills with Bitcoin well or just buy and hold? I've tried the bill pay on Bitcoin well, and it worked great, very seamless. And I do plan on moving more towards like Bitcoin only, living on a Bitcoin standard over time, but I'm just not there yet. But it works great. I actually pay a lot of my bills with ShakePay, which in Canada here, you can get ShakePay. And if you're using their ShakePay Visa card, you actually get sats back. So that's the difference there that I like more with Bitcoin Well. But for certain things I can't pay with my credit card, I probably will use the bill pay on Bitcoin Well eventually. Bitcoin is the future of money. Hey, look at this. We got a super chat from Shamos. Great name. Bitcoin is the future of money. 1 million plus 2034. I agree. All right. We got our first zap from Arnie's wallet here. 420 sats sent anonymously. Where is this thing? There it is. 420 sats. Thank you for that. And Arnie says thanks as well. Where'd he go? Thought he was behind me. Texas enjoying a warm front. All right, Steven says, thinking of moving my Bitcoin off my ledger to a different wallet. Yeah, I would say I got a couple different suggestions. Our holy trinity of Bitcoin wallets or devices, I should say, not wallets, but devices. Cold Card, Passport, Jade. Those are the three. And actually, Steven, I'll give you a little bit of a tip here, a little bit of a tip off if you want to. I think this is kind of like the best bang for your buck in terms of getting started here. Right here. Let me bring it up. Cold Card is great. I think Cold Card is probably where everybody should go to. But in terms of like an actual starting point, I think the Jade is the easiest. It seems like the most, I've kind of set up on all three of them. And Jade to me seems like it's the easiest for like anybody to understand. It's comparable to like a ledger, same kind of process. I mean, there's a couple different things you have to do with the air gap part of the Jade, but I think it's the easiest one for people to learn. So kind of what I would suggest for people is like, one thing you could do, Stephen, is like if you already have your ledger, you get yourself a Jade, and then later on you get a Cold Card. And kind of throughout the process there, you learn more and more about Bitcoin security, how the wallets work, good practices and stuff like that. And then when you get your third device, the Cold Card, you can actually set up a multi-sig with those three devices. So your ledger, your Jade, and your Cold Card, you can create a multi-sig with that, which enhances your security by 10 to 100 times, in my opinion. Multi-sig is where you want to get to with encryption eventually, but multi-sig is the way to go. So that's the nice thing about this kind of progression is that you don't have to get rid of your ledger. You don't have to throw out your Jade when you get a Cold Card. You use all three of them. And maybe in 5 years from now, you dump off the ledger, you get a Passport. then you have kind of all three in your multi-sig. That's what I think everybody should be striving towards. So this is the starter kit that I would recommend for people. This is Quick Bit in Regina. We have a starter kit for people in the community here. It's called the 88 Sat Starter Kit. So with this, you actually get the Blockstream Jade. And most importantly, you get this thing, the Stamp Seed Kit. So you get the hammer, the anvil. I thought we had more pictures here. Yeah, like that. So you get this whole kit. And it is $425 Canadian. Plus, if you use the code 88 SATS, there's no space there though, 88 SATS, you get 15% off of that. And that link should be, you can either go to QuickBit website or you can find the link in my show notes. All the links to everything is in the show notes. So it should say Crypto Boutique 88 Sats Starter Kit, and get yourself a Jade. I love the Jade. Very secure, very easy to use. The only problem with the Jade is the QR code being pretty small. So you need a good webcam too, which you can get a good one for like 40, 50 bucks that you can use throughout your Bitcoin security evolution. Look at this, Tommy D. Living in the future has made me rich and free. I love that. Look at this. Wow. He wasn't joking. Bought a farm and retired my wife because of the people in living in the future. Wow, that's more than I was expecting for testimonial. But wow. Duncan says, I'm in 365 and it's great. Learning a lot. Duncan is also, that just goes to show that course isn't necessarily for like new Bitcoiners, just people who want to improve their knowledge and learn more. Because Duncan was showing up, watching the show for every day for a year before that course started. So it's definitely not just for new Bitcoiners. AI with accuracy, precision, 24/7 will definitely change people's life, hopefully for the better. I agree. Highly skilled workers will lose highly skilled workers using AI. Truth. Look at this one. Cleaning Machine said, I can't say enough about 365. I leave comments in all of them. You're giving this course away at that price. Or you're giving this course away at the price. The value is incredible, guys. It's true. It's a very helpful course for any Bitcoiner of any level, and incredibly cheap. But here's the thing. Here's why it's so cheap. Because it's a pilot course, right? I've never done it before. I don't think anybody in Bitcoin has done a 365-day course. So it's kind of a test run. I'm kind of learning things as I go. I'm designing it as I go. And so whenever you're going through a pilot program, you get a really good price for it. Regardless of how good it is or bad it is, you get a good price for it. So I'm thinking when I do this course next year, if I do, it'll probably be 5 times, 10 times the cost. Especially after seeing things like this. Matt says the most valuable lesson learned so far from the Living the Future community is that earning sats every day for free from faucets like ZBD, Smiles, ShakePay, Fold. Yes, it's key. It's the key. You got to compound it. All right, Zapstream still trying to figure themselves out over there. Okay, well, we are 34 minutes into this. I got to get to some fucking stuff here. Well, let's check on the metrics in the mempool. We're bad. We are bad. All right. Quickly check on the mempool. By the way, I want to actually, you know what? We'll save that for another day. Mempool today, we are block height 8849591. Fees are low, very low, 2 sats per VByte. Foundry won the last 2 blocks, and we are currently 33 blocks behind schedule, which means that it's taken the miners longer to find the blocks, which means that it's too hard for them. There's not enough miners out there to suit and fit the difficulty adjustment right now. So within 433 blocks, that should be self-regulated by the Bitcoin network, which is pretty cool to me. All right, the metrics today. I want to get back to this, so I want to mix this in here. So this, again, we got the block height, we got the fees. The price today is about $97,000. 1 year ago today, Bitcoin was $52,300. 4 years ago today. This is a good example. I really wanted to dial in on this for a minute here. Look at these two prices. So February 2024, the price was 52,000. February 2021, the price was 55,000. So this is a perfect example of why you buy Bitcoin and you hold on to it for at least 4 years. That's why I do this metrics, because it's very important. We haven't had a whole lot of good examples like this. But let's say you bought Bitcoin on February 20th, 2021, and that was your first time buying Bitcoin. And you were pumped, and the price probably shot up a little bit, but then it dropped, and you sat there for 3 years. Some highs, some lows, very lows. And 3 years later, you're actually still down. And you're like, what the hell is going on? These Bitcoiners told me this price only goes up. Number go up technology, they said. And so you sold it. You lost $3,000 on your Bitcoin. But if you just would have waited a year to round out your 4-year Bitcoin cycle, you would have doubled your initial investment. So yes, when you buy is important. I think the most important thing is that you buy regularly and you compound it and you hold on to it for at least 4 years. That's the moral of the story here. That's the lesson learned. So again, if you held on to this asset for 3 years, you actually lost money. Held on to it for an extra year, you doubled your profit or double your original investment. So the lesson here, compound your Bitcoin, regularly buy your Bitcoin, and hold on to it for at least 4 years, and you cannot lose. Well, I shouldn't say cannot, but you have not lost yet. And I don't think you ever will. Oh, I missed that. Missed the end of it there. Okay, well, we don't need to see it, but the Moscow time in the US today is $1 will get you 1,023 sats. If you want to be Moscow rich in the US, you need 977 US dollars to get 1 million sats. And the price in Canada today is 138,775 CAD. Moose Jaw time, which is the equivalent to Moscow time, $1 Canadian gets you 720 sats. Yikes. And if you want to be Moose Jaw rich in Canada, need 1 million sats, which is going to cost you $1,389. Okay, let's check on a few more comments and then we'll get to a little bit of news today. We're actually doing, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Cleaning Machine says, not to mention you can go back and listen to it again and again until it etches into your brain. Yes, so important. That's why I suggested joining the 365, because you literally have access to pretty much everything on the Patreon. You can go back and watch probably hundreds of videos on there, plus the Q&As, plus the very important resources in there. It's honestly a no-brainer. It's just people, and I get it. People procrastinate. People think they don't need it, but for anybody who does, it's good. M. Vincent says, I finished the Bitcoin Standard and a little book of Bitcoin on Audible. Are there any more book recommendations? That's a good question. Does anybody have book recommendations for M. Vincent? I'm reading The Sovereign Individual right now. I love that book. I'm blown away by it, because it was written in the 90s and it's basically talking about exactly what's happening today with the internet, with decentralization. Bitcoin wasn't invented yet, but it's basically playing out exactly how we are right now, where governments shrink, the individual becomes more sovereign, less reliant, less influenced by the government, less controlled by the government. It's pretty much what's happening right now. So I would suggest Sovereign Individual. I'm only about, I don't know, 1/10 of the way through. It's a long book, but it's great. Oh, this is a good idea. Sabian says, I drew my QR code bigger and the Jade reads it easily. Interesting. Jen says, in the US, Fold app seems to work like ShakePay. Yes, definitely. If you're in the US, you should be using Fold. Actually, I saw a video of the guy from Fold yesterday. They just made they went public yesterday, I believe. So you can now actually buy shares in the Fold company. They got a credit card coming out. So pretty exciting. And this is a good call too. If anybody is thinking about joining the 365, I would start from day one, January 1st, 2025. You get 50 videos right now. And every day a new one is added they're about 10, 15 minutes long. You can put them on like 1.5, save yourself some time, or you can go through it. This is kind of what I would do. I would go through it, especially if you're just joining today. I would go through the videos at like 1.5 speed, get yourself a notepad and write down anything you learn, write down any questions you have that come up when you're watching it. And if you enjoy it, put it into like a separate folder or bookmark it or star something. And then you can go back and re-listen to it on like a slower speed. Especially if you're kind of familiar with Bitcoin already. If you're brand new to Bitcoin, you might want to just listen to it, slowly and make sure that things sink in. But yeah, absolutely agree. I think that having like a specific notepad dedicated to that course is a very good idea. The other thing too, actually, is that I'm going to be giving out certificates at the end of the year. So if you make it through the whole year, I'm going to have like a one-on-one call with you, and it won't be like a quiz or a test or anything. I'll probably ask you a couple questions, but and then I'll issue you a certificate. And as I've said, it might be worth less than toilet paper, but it might actually be worth something in the future. I think it will. I really do, because when you have, and the reason I say that isn't because like I'm not trying to pump my own tires here, but what I'm saying is if you actually look at like the course, 365 days, 365 videos, 365 different topics within Bitcoin. And consistently, it's being etched, as somebody said, into your brain over and over again of what you need to know. Plus, I do think that in a couple of years, when we look back and there's, some people might be recognized within Bitcoin. 88 sats might not be, but I think that people will kind of recognize where it came from and the content that was included in that. So might be beneficial, might not, but you're getting it anyways. And I wouldn't say that's a reason to do it, but I think it's just a bonus. Every day is a school day. That's absolutely true. Is it too late to jump in 365? No, it's actually probably the best time to do it, because you start today and you get 50 videos to run with, and you might see a title that you're already familiar with. You could just skip it. Yeah, it's never too late. How can I join the 365? I actually have a link in the show notes. There's a couple different ones in there that'll take you to the same spot, but it says join 365 days with a Patreon link beside it, or the other one's join living the future, which has the same link. It takes you to the same spot. Oh, that is today, hey? Big game today. Let's go Canada. That's tonight. All right. I'm excited for that. I hope Canada shit pumps them. Will they? Probably not, but I hope they do. All right, let's get to a little bit of news here today. Bendero, didn't they shut down trading after like 3 minutes Fold? I don't know. I didn't see. Maybe. I saw it went way up and then crashed way down, so that would make sense. Sabian says another cool thing to do is stamp your seed QR into metal. For your jade. Interesting. That is smart. Cleaning Machine says the certificate will be priceless in my mind. I would agree with that. Even though it's in your mind, I would say the same. It is priceless information. All right. Let's so I want to talk about a couple different things here. I titled the show today, Bitcoin is impossible to recreate. And I wanted to start with this one, actually. I saw it on, we'll start with some nostr news. This is our nostr news for today. I'm going to be sharing a post from nostr every single show here. And I thought this one was pretty cool. This is your odds of cracking a Bitcoin wallet. The odds of winning the lottery versus the odds of guessing one Bitcoin private key. So you can see here at the top, you got 1 in 292 million, 28 bits. I don't know what this means. This is just comparing, I guess, the number of possibilities and scenarios that could play out. But it says the odds of winning, or the odds of guessing a winning Powerball number versus guessing one Bitcoin private key. You would have to win Powerball approximately 9 times in a row, which is the equivalent of guessing one Bitcoin private key. So you could guess any Bitcoin private key with a balance, or you could guess a specific Bitcoin private key, which is this is where the SHA-256 comes from, 256 bits. I don't fully understand it myself, but that is the security there around the Bitcoin network, trying to guess somebody's private key. And the next one I wanted to share here, this one isn't from Nostr, but it kind of relates to the same kind of thing in terms of why Bitcoin cannot be recreated. So that's kind of like the security aspect of it. By the way, SHA-256 was invented by the NSA. So take that however you want to. But this one's from Juthica over on X. Juthica. And it says there will never be another fair launch like Bitcoin because you can never create the environment where everybody had access to, but nobody cared about such a thing. Isn't that so true? You can never do it again. Bitcoin was the only cryptocurrency. Every other crypto is basically spawned from Bitcoin. It's been a copy and paste plus some features added to it. But you can never recreate Bitcoin because it was the only fair cryptocurrency that's ever been launched. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It was it? I don't know. It doesn't matter if it was the only one. It was a fair launch because the creator, Satoshi, basically what he did is he knew that because he was going to test this network out, the Genesis block back in 2009, he knew that if in the future people looking back, they could say that Satoshi gave 50 coins to himself because he knew he was going to win the first block essentially there. So what Satoshi did was he actually made those 50 Bitcoin unspendable. So from the Genesis block, the 50 coins that he knew he was going to win to, be the first one to mine, he made those 50 coins unspendable, which would be worth, I think, $700 million today, or 7 million, one of the two. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 7 million. So it was fair from day zero. Essentially, the Genesis block was block 0. Plus, anybody could do it. If you're thinking back to like 2009, 2010, 2011, 12, anybody could be mining Bitcoin. You didn't need a license. You didn't need a big investment. You could actually mine Bitcoin with a laptop back then because there were so few people doing it. And the guesses required to hit a block reward were much lower. So you could actually mine Bitcoin with a laptop back in the day. And then it evolved to like an S9 and then an S19. And if you want to compete now, because there's so many people mining Bitcoin, you have to like have a supercomputer or get really lucky with like a BitAxe. But the whole time it's been a fair launch. It was a fair launch from day zero, and it was a fair launch throughout. There was never any coins distributed to like friends or family members or like a pre-launch. Nothing. The only thing that could have possibly been called unfair was the very first block from Satoshi. And he made those coins unspendable because he knew that this thing had to be pure from day zero. And it was. So if you came out with something similar now, and I know there's been a lot of altcoins and shitcoins that have tried to do this, but you could never replicate that. You could never, in what she's saying here, there will never be another fair launch like Bitcoin because you can never recreate the environment where everyone had access to, but nobody cared about such a thing. That's a great tweet. And it just shows how like unique this whole thing has been. And it will never be able to be recreated in my mind. All right, Zapstream's still going through it. Sorry, Zapstream. but that's okay. It looks like there's some people still in there watching. Tom says, I'm not optimistic about the U.S. Sid doesn't lose the big game. I mean, you're probably not wrong. You got Sidney Crosby, you got Connor McDavid, and you got Nathan McKinnon. I would say the top three players from the last decade on the same team, same line in some cases. So I agree. I think Canada will crank up their game. They're going to have to beat Hellebuck, though. Hellebuck was my guy back when I was a Winnipeg Jets fan. We had a couple, I shouldn't say we, they had a couple really bad goalies when they came over from Atlanta. And then Hellebuck had his first couple of years were pretty rough. And then he really evolved into the best goalie in the league now, apparently. I wouldn't know, but that's what I hear. Anyways, it'll be fun to watch either way. All right, what was this other one here? I think the last one I wanted to share was this one. So I shared a video on gold yesterday. And a couple things. Actually, let me check this quickly because Bodie, I don't know if I'm doing the show or not today. Let me check to see what Bodie has said because I was doing it and then I wasn't doing it. So I want to make sure we have a proper announcement here. I don't know. Bodie, are you here today? Are you in the chat? I think he's traveling today. But I was supposed to do Bitcoin generations and I was going to talk about like a specific couple comments that I received about baby boomers and from baby boomers. But I don't know if I'm going to be doing it anymore. So we'll see. We might be doing a show. It's just going to be me though. Bodie's traveling. But supposed to be doing a show at 2 p.m. Eastern today, Bitcoin Generations. So if you're free, check it out. But I had a couple things I was going to talk about that I was actually saving for then. But I don't know if Bodie wants me to do it anymore. He said it's not necessary, but that doesn't mean I won't do it. Got to keep the show going. We got to be consistent here. All right, you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to give away some Bitcoin. If you're here now, you're lucky. You picked the right time to watch the show. All right, let's get to the wishing well here. So before we do that, though, let me just double check something here. Or was that? All right, I got one more thing to show that we'll talk about. All right, I see a couple people have joined the 365, which is good. I spent quite a bit of time talking about it today, so I figured there would be a couple people. And the last thing I would say on the 365 is if you are somebody joining here, there's about 15 people going through there. There'll probably be more after today. But I do want to create a group chat for people who join the 365. I've been kind of waiting to do it until there's enough people in there. But I want to set up a Signal group chat for people going through the 365 where they can discuss things, share resources, ask questions. So I'll have that more information now. Definitely not. There's more people joining that course. I'll probably send out some sort of communication to people. So you get again, 365 course. First thing you get is 50 days of videos. Number one, from January 1st to February 20th, every single day I've done a video, 50 videos in there. So that's one. Second one is you get a certificate at the end of it. If you get through the whole thing, if you pass the course after a session with me, you get a certificate. Third one, you get a group chat, which in my experience has been extremely valuable for people. That's kind of been the difference maker in the living in the future, is having a group chat where everybody can kind of converse, learn from each other, help each other. So that's the third one. And then fourth is you get the private Q&As and access to the new course we're doing for helping people leave their jobs essentially, or grow their business with private Q&A mixed into there. Pretty solid value, I would say. All right, we got a couple more here. T. Jacobson says, those short video clips are great, Jor. I share them with friends when I explain Bitcoin. Keep them coming. And I'd like to be in your Signal chat as well. Same with Clean Your Machine. All right. No problem. Link, you can find the link in the show notes here. So go after the show. We're only going to be doing this for another, 5-10 minutes here. So You can click in the link to the in the show notes to join, and then I'll send you an email maybe to confirm that I got it, and I'll give you information on the new group chat. So I'll be doing that today. Usually I wait a little while just to make sure, nobody did it by accident or cancels. So I'll make sure to send those emails out today. All right, so let's give away some Bitcoin here. I don't know if I could actually share that link. That might be easier to do. Let me try. I'll see if I can share it actually in the YouTube chat here, and then you guys can just click it. But again, you can just go into the show notes. There's actually a couple different links on there for the course and the living in the future. If you don't want the 365, you can also join for 25% of the cost there, and you can just get into the community that way. What the hell's going on here? Okay, let's try this. Can somebody test this link and just let me know if you can actually access it there from YouTube? Okay, so let's give away some biddy here for the third time. So what you got to do here is you have to get out your phone. You have to open up your Lightning wallet. And if you don't have a Lightning wallet, you can download it now and be ready for the next show. We give away Bitcoin every day here, courtesy of Bitcoin Well. So they don't pay me. They just basically pay the community here. And actually on that note, I do want to read an email after this as well about Bitcoin Well. So here is, so get out your Lightning wallet. You press send actually, which seems backwards. It feels like you should press receive, but you actually press send, and you can click the QR code or scan the QR code, and the first person to scan it is going to win the sats here. It might be 210, it might be 2100. I think we're on a 2100 streak here. Actually, we've had 2 in a row, but anyways, good luck. Good luck to you. 500 sats. Oh, that's better. We were on like a 20-day cold streak of 210. You know what? We're on a cold streak of 210 sats every day, 210, 210, 210. And so I did a stream last week on Friday, and I had a couple beers and a whiskey, and I was feeling pretty crazy. And so I said, we're going to break the streak here. I'm going to keep tossing coins in here. I started with 3, and then we didn't hit it after 3. So I did 4 and then 5. So I blew 5 coins trying to break our cold streak, and we didn't. But since then, we've had 2100, 2100, and then 500. So I would say, even though it didn't seem like it at the time, that was the thing that broke the camel's back, broke the coldie, you might say. Actually, I thought I was going to be hearing from somebody from Bitcoin Well after that. Because I was talking about cold streaks with sex. And then, of course, I blew through 5 coins, 5 tosses, but it worked. So that's all that matters. They should be thanking me for that. Okay, let me bring this back here. Where was this email about? Hold on, I'll find it. Give me a chance. Who was it? There it is. Okay, so I wanted to share this because, I talk about Bitcoin Well here every day on the show. We give away some Bitcoin from them. Again, they don't pay me. They don't sponsor the show. They just give Bitcoin to the community. And so I would say a couple things to that. If you are in Canada, if you're in the US, just give Bitcoin Well a shot. You can use the bitcoinwell.com/Jor. That gets you 5 free tosses into the wishing well. And, oh, what? Okay. That's not good. I won those 500 sats, but the redemption failed. Maybe somebody beat you to redeeming it. I don't know. We've had a couple times where 2 people won. It was like 2 or 3 days in a row, 2 people won. And it could happen more often because people don't usually share when they win. But can somebody else, maybe if you won the 500 sats, just leave a comment? If not, I get it. but hopefully it went to somebody at least. Anyways, again, give Bitcoin Well a shot. Number one, they're Team Bitcoin. They're not on Team Government like a lot of exchanges out there. Number two, they have the lowest fees, which especially if you're buying a big amount of Bitcoin, fees are a pretty important part of it. So they got the lowest fees, and then three, they got the best platform, the most features by far, and there's a lot of different things you can do on there, including free swaps from on-chain to Lightning, which is pretty unique. I haven't seen anybody else doing that. But I wanted to share this too, and I'm not going to share the name or anything like that. But I got this email from somebody who's been watching the show about Bitcoin Well, so I wanted to share it. And it says, "Hey, Jor, hope you're doing well. I just wanted to reach out and say thanks for all the work you put into 88 Sats Radio. Your insights have been solid, and because of your content, I've decided to switch my Bitcoin accumulation from Kraken to Bitcoin Well. I figured if I'm making the move based on your advice, it only makes sense to use your referral code so that you benefit from it too. I'm already a monthly donor, so thank you for that. But I see what you're doing as more than just content. It's a real service to the Bitcoin space. So if I can kick back some sats your way while saving money on my purchases, that's a win-win. Let me know what your referral code is and keep up the great work. Cheers." Unreal. And that's just, whenever you can find a win-win like that in life, you should always take it. Always take it. So thanks to the guy who sent that in, and thank you for using Bitcoin Well. Because again, if you don't have the financial means to support the show through like the QR code or joining the community, you can do things like this where it benefits you. Obviously, you're using a great platform, you're saving on fees, plus it helps the channel here. It's a win-win. You got to look for things like that. I think that that's important, not just for, me or this community here, but for anything in life. Anybody's helping you and you can help them back without, setting yourself back. That's a win-win. And again, if you don't have the financial means to support the channel and you enjoy and value what I'm doing here, things like that help. Sharing a video, a clip or whatever on your social media, that helps. Leaving a comment under a video, just saying, "Thanks, Jor," helps. Stupid, but helps, and it's free to do. So I would appreciate that. And thanks to everybody who does that on a regular basis. Thanks for the people who support financially and non-financially. I wouldn't be showing up here if it wasn't for stuff like that. That's for sure. Sabian says, "I won as well and cannot redeem it." Jay says, "I may or may not have won those and redeemed them successfully." Huh. I've never seen that before. We've been doing a lot of those and there's never been any issues with that. So we had Clean Your Machine, we had Sabian and LaughPad. Huh. But Jason got it. Funny. Mr. Yulfang, good morning. Great to see you. Yeah, no more coldies, says Josh. I agree. No more coldies. All right, let's jump to this last clip. And then we'll shut her down. Oh, this is awesome. I got my email opened up here. I see a couple more people have joined. It's good. That's great, actually. The more people we can have in that going through that, the better it's going to be for the other people going through there. Okay. So, I forgot to say thank you to Duncan here too. So apparently this link does work. So if you're interested in joining or at least checking it out, you can scroll back in the chat here and you should be able to click this link and find the 365-day course. Okay, so let's get to this clip. This guy, man. Somebody in the chat here today said things could be worse. Kamala could be president. Could you imagine? I forget who it was, but somebody said that in the chat today, and it's absolutely true. It's funny. We spent a couple of weeks after everything that had happened in the U.S. and Trump taking office, like complaining about things. Like everybody was losing their fucking minds over him launching a meme coin. And I'm just like, do you guys understand anything that's going on here? Like Trump's been selling sneakers. He's been selling gold coins. He's been selling NFTs. You have to understand that this is the most influential and most popular person on the planet. And if I was the most popular person on the planet, I would probably try to benefit from being the most popular person on the planet. And you also have to keep in mind that the majority of things that Trump launches and comes out with aren't actually Trump. Do you understand every time you open up your phone or TV or anything and Trump's on there, the guy's fucking busy. I don't think he has time to like sit down and figure out how to launch a meme coin. Like we agree with that, right? So it is hilarious to me what's happening. I'm getting so much enjoyment out of seeing these politicians squirm, seeing these government workers who have been doing absolutely fuck all and just leeching off everybody else, getting laid off and fired and, exposed finally. I'm just soaking all of this up. And I think that's what you should be doing. But aside from that, Trump to me is one of the funniest guys on the planet, like low key hilarious. The shit that he says, how blunt he is, how honest he is, and just how he says things. It just kills me. So this was a clip from yesterday. Trump on the airplane meeting with the press. I swear I've seen more like interaction between the president and the press in the last 3 weeks than the last 4 years combined. I don't remember seeing one picture of Joe Biden in the White House, which really makes you wonder. It made me wonder. If you can find a picture of Joe Biden in the White House or at the White House, please let me know. There was one where he was getting vaccinated, I think, but it was like clearly a set because they took a picture from behind and you could see like that it was an actual studio. It was wild. But anyways, let's see what Trump has to say about Fort Knox. This is hilarious.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they gonna
You know that? We're going to go into Fort Knox. You know about that? We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they gonna
You know that? We're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that?
Sir,
That was a bad bump.
are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the president brought up?
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset. We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they going to
You know that? We're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that?
Sir,
That was a bad bump.
Oh man, the guy kills me. He's doing that on Air Force One. Speaking with the press on Air Force One, says that was a bad bump. And it looks like we had as soon as we mentioned Trump, the bots show up here. It's funny how that works. I don't think Trump Nation 2028 was listening to the whole show today, and they just decided that he would poke his head up here after we mentioned Trump. Okay, so you're gone. We don't need any of this stupid shit. I hate bots. I hate bots so much. Ban user, delete their comments. Bye-bye. I can't stand it. Every time I post a video now on YouTube, there's 100 different bots. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It just drives me insane. And they're getting pretty sophisticated too. I'm not going to lie. Ryan says the scarcity of sats when divided by 8 billion 8 billion people just blows my mind. Yeah, there's a couple different very objective, simple calculations you can do by yourself. Divide 8 billion people divided by 21 Bitcoin. And then you factor in like the sats that are lost, the Bitcoin that's lost. You factor in Satoshi's wallet. You factor in MicroStrategy Bitcoin that will never move. You factor in BlackRock Bitcoin that will never move. As more and more countries join and states join, that Bitcoin goes in there, never moves. So then you divide 8 billion people by the available Bitcoin, which is what? I don't know, maybe 1 million Bitcoin? Maybe. maybe less. I think there's a lot of shenanigans going on right now in Bitcoin. I do. There's just way too much big capital flowing into Bitcoin, way too much demand for the price to be chopping sideways like this. Something's going on. And that's why I think it's incredibly important to standardize and normalize proof of reserves, which means if you tell people that you have Bitcoin, if you're like a public entity and you tell people that you have Bitcoin, and people are either putting their financial interest in you or investing in you in any way, you should be required to show proof of reserves on the blockchain, not a tweet, not a metrics on your website, but show the address where the Bitcoin is. And I think that if we standardize and normalize that, Bitcoin is going to become much more scarce inherently. Because I think that there's a lot of Bitcoin floating around right now. I do. I'm not going to say names because I don't really feel like getting sued, but probably the biggest name in Bitcoin. You can guess. They hold the majority of these companies, including Strategies, Bitcoin. I think there's a lot of paper Bitcoin out there right now. And I think that, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. But I think if we normalize and standardize proof of reserves by every entity who has to show that, has to be transparent with it, Bitcoin is going to become much more scarce. So that's one. But then you also look at 60 million millionaires divided by 21 million. So even if every millionaire on earth wanted to buy one Bitcoin, they couldn't. They couldn't even get 1/3 of it. And that's based on 21 million. So divide 60 million millionaires divided by like 1 million Bitcoin, 2 million Bitcoin that are actually available to buy. That's what blows your mind. That's the kind of shit that blows your mind. Trump wine, Trump shirts, Trump ties, Trump books, 100%. The guy's a marketing genius. He's the most popular person on the planet. And meme coins to me are basically just like hockey cards. That's how I see meme coins. Because there's a company who makes them. We really have no idea. I mean, meme coins are probably actually more honest than hockey cards. Truly. You have a company like Upper Deck who creates all these hockey cards, sells them to people. They literally just take a picture of a hockey player, put it onto a card, and put it into a package and send it out. I see no difference from hockey cards and sports cards to meme coins. They're the exact same thing. But because society is okay with, because it's been normalized within society, people are okay with it. But it's the exact same thing. Trump sent Bitcoin yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. He's talking about becoming the crypto capital of the world again. Yeah, that in the 90s, trucks riding high into Knox and riding low coming out. So what do we think? I guess let's round out the show with that. What do we think here? Because I've kind of played this out in my own mind a couple different times now. Oh shit, I don't have any sats in the Zap stream. Shit. I've kind of played it out in my head a couple times of like, what happens if the gold's not there? What happens if the gold is there, as they say? What happens if there's more gold than they say? What's the predictions here? Which three? Do they have less? Do they have the same? Or do they have more? That's the options. And then what are the implications of that? And to me, it doesn't really matter Bitcoin-wise. It doesn't matter how much gold's there. It really doesn't. I think that this is kind of how I see it. I see it if there's less gold in Fort Knox than we think. That's going to be a real signal to the world that the U.S. might not be as strong as they say they are economically. It's also going to say, okay, well, if this gold's not here, then where is it? Who has all the gold? How can we verify that? So I think that if there's no gold in there or less gold, I think that the price of gold is actually going to shoot up, because that just shows that this is the supply we thought we had. It's actually much less than that. So the price would shoot up. Supply's down. Demand is the same. Price up. Whereas if they went in there and they said, oh, actually, here's all the gold that we have or more, to me, that would suggest that, Yes, the US is strong economically, and I do think that Trump would be incentivized to do that. Also, that means that if the US said they had $780 billion worth of gold, but they actually have $2 trillion worth of gold, how much supply is actually out there? So in that case, supply is up, demand is the same, price would go down of gold. If the US has more than they claim to, the price should go down, all the other things being equal. But either way, we'll see. Again, because that's just kind of my thesis on it. That's what should happen, but will it happen? I don't know. Anyways, we got another zap here for our guy Arnie, who just left the show. He had enough of everybody. But somebody sent in one of my favorite sats, actually, one of my favorite zaps, 1,111 sats, and had a comment of 11. Love that. So thank you for that. Thank you for the zap. The whole show has been staged all along. Like we're talking about the government? Or what do you mean? Cleaner Machine says less, probably sold 3 times in notes. I mean, that's probably the most realistic guess. But again, you have to remember that Trump's in office now. Trump wants to show the world that the US is mighty and powerful. There's been a bunch of gold coming over from London. And apparently, if you're trying to take possession of your gold in London, it used to be within a day or two. Now it's within, I think, 8 weeks and not even guaranteed. So a lot of gold from London is coming over to the US. Why? Maybe they're just taking ownership of the notes that they had claimed to. But we'll see. Amount will be as written. I mean, that's probably a good guess too. And some will be fake. I could see that. That's probably the most realistic. That's what I would bet on. I don't know if it would be fake, but I would guess now that Trump would. The best thing that Trump could do is actually make sure that they have the gold there. That's it. Doesn't have to be more. It should be real. Obviously, there's no way to verify that, which is a big problem with gold overall. But they can produce any movie they want to and show you, and you will believe it because they say so. That's true. I agree with that theory, honestly. I really do. Because there's just been some things over the last 4 or 5 years that have just been truly fucking impossible and like laughable and not even real. So I do agree that there's definitely something here. It really just depends on who is making the movie, I guess. That's what I would say. It really depends on who is making the movie and what their goal is. But I agree. There's someone with deep pockets buying gold outside the US. I think they are stocking it before an audit. Interesting. It seems like there's just ever since Trump took office, there's just like a giant spotlight around the world that he's shining it on. He put it on Canada for a while. He put it on Ukraine recently. He's putting it on Fort Knox, some of the stuff within the US government, these different departments. He's just shining lights on all of these for people to see. And it is fucking awesome. Bird Meta, good morning. What about the 4.7 trillion they're looking into? I mean, that's the thing. Like within the last month, we did a show on it here. But like El Salvador found like $2 trillion worth of gold in El Salvador. I feel like my yard here is bigger than El Salvador. So to me, that just suggests that there's a lot of gold out there. There's more gold and oil. Those are two things that we've been lied to throughout history. That oil is scarce and gold is scarce. There's a complete abundance of both those two things, oil and gold. And the reason why we've been told that they're scarce is so that the puppets above could control the markets. Oh, the oil's scarce. We got to charge you $2 a liter for it. Gold's scarce. It's $3,000 an ounce. Use gold here, not silver. Don't look at silver. Don't look at Bitcoin. Here's gold. Shiny, nice. Use it for things. $3,000. Very scarce. Two of the biggest lies we've ever been told is that oil is scarce and gold is scarce. Both those two are absolutely abundant. And if and when we find that out, there's a lot of things that change in the economy after that. Because think about who's ruled the world. And a lot of it's been through oil and gold, countries holding gold, having this fake illusion of power. It's a joke. It is a joke. Yeah, ancient Mayan gold. That's right. There was something that happened with gold where they basically said, we're not using gold anymore because there's so much of it. We can't use gold because there's so much of it. We're going to use silver instead. And if you look at silver, silver has a very interesting history in the world. Between the bankers, between the countries, between the economies, silver is actually much more scarce, from what I understand, than gold is. And that's why I said nobody should ever own gold, because there's more of it. There's much more of it. It's absolutely abundant. Silver is used more in like technology stuff. And you can get like one silver, or you can get like, what would it be, 60 silver coins for the price of one gold coin. It's a no-brainer. If people love precious metals, silver to me is by far the better play. And actually, I'm going to be talking about that today. If Bodhi wants me to do a show on his channel, I'm going to be talking about silver and gold. A little bit, not much, because it's kind of useless anyways. But Bird Meta says, love this channel so much. I watch daily. Thanks for the content. Thank you. Thanks for being here. And thank you for the support, because this channel will never be like it'll never be a mainstream channel. It just won't be. I swear too much. I talk about stuff like this. It'll never be like a mainstream channel, but I'm okay with that. Lots of gold in Grand Canyon and in Chocolate Mountains in San Diego. 100%. T. Jacobson says, Google Kucherov, abiotic oil. All right, I'll Google that. There's a Kucherov that plays in the NHL, but I think it's spelled differently than that. Kucherov, abiotic oil. Good to know. You know what? I'm way over time here already, but whatever. Sabian says, I would bet that a lot of gold has been formed into those Capitol building domes. You think so? Maybe. The one thing I would say about this right now, and big shout out to Bird Meta here before we go any further. That's very generous of you. $9.99 super chat. 2 super chats today. Shamos and Bird Meta. Thank you. The one thing I was going to say there, though, is aside from like joining, if you're still thinking about joining 365 or living the future, the one thing I would say is just being part of a community like that is incredibly, incredibly beneficial. And this is kind of one thing that I've really understood and realized in the last little while is like, we now have endless amounts of information, abundant amount of information, oil, gold, information, all completely abundant and at everybody's fingertips instantly now. So what I'm kind of thinking here for the next couple of years, how I see this evolving, especially within Bitcoin community, is like we have AI now, and I use Perplexity for, I don't know, 10 or 15 times a day. Anytime I need anything, I check with Perplexity. If I'm trying to figure something out, trying to learn something, start there. That's a really good place to start. Do not put 100% trust in that, though. That's why you have a community and a network like Living the Future or 365, where you can check with AI. You can do a little bit of your own research first, but then verify within your trusted community of if anybody else has done that. I've done that several times in the last week alone, where I got the information from AI and then I just verified that, I just said, how do you do this? What's your best tip for this or whatever within the community, within the group chat? And then you have 2 very powerful things there. You have an AI who's compiling a bunch of information from all around the internet, sources. And then you have somebody, a real person who has actually gone through it and done it themselves. You combine those 2 things and you're going to be unstoppable, in my opinion, with anything. So consider if you haven't. I know that there's been a couple people that have joined already so far the show. Oh, and we got a very fat zap here to end the show here today. So again, if you want to join that community there, 365. A lot of benefit to that, a lot of value. And I just threw it in the chat again there. So I've had 6 people join already during the show, which is badass. So we're going to start a group chat. I'll email everybody who's joining today, and we'll get that going. So we also got a fat zap here of 5,000 sats with an orange heart. Maybe that's the overtime pay for going 25 minutes over. Either way, I thank you. And I see Greenie. Greenie's over in the Zap stream. Another frog was in there when it wasn't working. But that's a show. So again, check back at 2 p.m. Eastern time today to see if we're doing the Bitcoin generations. I'm going to wait and see what Bodhi says on it. But if he gives the green light, we're going to do a Bitcoin generation show for the baby boomers and people who are learning about Bitcoin. So thanks, Jor. I'm glad we got some more 365ers. Yes, and thanks everybody for those live testimonials. Those are as good as Bitcoin. We used to say as good as gold, but now it's as good as Bitcoin. So I appreciate that a lot. For those people who are there and giving live testimonials, I appreciate it. So that's it. We got so much stuff going on here. It's hard. I'm trying my best here to jam these shows into 1 hour, and it's very hard. I do this like every couple months. I'm like, these shows are way too long. We need to shorten it. I do like 2 shows of 1 hour, and then the next day we're back to fucking 2-hour show. But it's fun. It's good. People seem to be enjoying it and getting value from it. So again, thanks to everybody who sent value back today through Arnie's over on Zapstream and with the testimonials here. So maybe Arnie will show up here before we go. But anyways, I hope everybody has a great day today. And maybe we'll see you this afternoon. Maybe we won't. But thanks again. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.